Okay, I'd like to call the town commission meeting for April 11th at 7 o'clock. Please stand for the pledge and the in.
One.
Father God, thank you once again for entrusting us with your town. Again, I ask you to give us wisdom and discernment to make the best decisions we can for our town citizens. Put a hedge of protection around our fire department, our staff, our police department, our school, our town commission, and all our citizens. And may we honor you in all we say this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, sir. Here. President.
Sure. Here, you are all here. Okay, we have one proclamation for National Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day is planting trees. And whereas holiday day was first the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and as now it's nation and trees can reduce the erosion of our precious tops by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Whereas the trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our tree fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in our town increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business, and beautify our community. Whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Kathy Stark, Mayor of the Town of Oakland, do hereby proclaim April 28th as National Arbor Day. This will be, is this 21 years we've been doing this proclamation? Yeah, well, it's for 20 years, National or a Tree City USA. And this is part of what we do, as well as plant trees for that designation. So I'm saying 21.
Easy.
Okay. Next is public forum. If there's anybody here who wishes to speak on a subject that is not on the agenda, this is your chance to do so. We ask that you come to the podium and you keep your comments brief. Okay, thank you. Consent agenda. Do we have anything we want to talk about, pull out, or do I have a motion?
I'm sorry, that one item we need to add to the consent agenda.
I thought we had, is this another one?
So Oakland Nature Preserve is asking for the approval.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So you want me to just read it?
sure.
Okay, so the Oakland Nature Preserve is having bubbly on the boardwalk. Fundraiser event on Saturday, April 22nd from 6 to 9. This will be on the Healthy West Orange Boardwalk. And they're asking for approval for the ability to serve alcoholic beverages at the bubbly on the boardwalk. And so it's an exception to the code of ordinances. It needs commission approval, and time kind of got away from Jennifer, so she's asking that we add it.
Busy beavers.
I would ask that a vote be taken to add it to the consent agenda, and then a vote be taken on approval of agenda.
Okay. So do I have a motion to add this item to the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to add the Oakland Nature Preserves to the agenda as presented.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, I'll bring it back to the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we will vote on the consent agenda, which includes this item. So does anybody have any at the table, have any further questions or want to pull anything out to discuss?
I'll make the motion to accept the consent agenda now as presented.
Okay. We lock somebody in there? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions from the audience? Okay, bring it back to the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 2023-01, second reading.
It's second reading ordinance 2023-01, ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, annexing by voluntary petition certain real property owned by James Weeble and Mary Lee, Berrien property tax parcel identification number 19-22-2776-00-030-1016 Whole Island Drive and located contiguous to the town of Oakland in accordance with voluntary annexation provisions of section 171.044 Florida statutes and other controlling law, redefining the boundaries of the town of Oakland to include the property, providing for findings, providing for conditions, directing the town clerk to record the ordinance with the clerk of circuit court, with the chief administrative officer of Orange County, and with the Department of State, providing for legal description and a map repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, providing for non-codification, the taking of administrative actions, and providing for an effective. Okay. Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Now, this is our second time going through this. Do we have any questions at the table for Sarah? Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2023-01.
Okay,
No, second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded. I'm going to open a public hearing. Does anybody in the audience have anything they want to add? Okay, bring it back to the table. All in favor? Ordinance 2023-02.
Okay, the second reading of ordinance 2023-02, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, adopting its town future land use plan map designation of its comprehensive plan of low density residential for certain real property owned by James Weeble and Mary Lee, located at the following address, 1016 Whole Island Drive, as more particularly described herein, with an approximate size of 1.29 acres, making findings and providing for conflict severability and for an effective date.
Okay. Do we have any?
Motion.
Thank you. Do we,
Ordinance 2023-02.
okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. This is a second reading. We discussed this at our last meeting also. Sarah, do you have anything to add? Okay, so I'm going to open a public hearing. Does anybody have any comments? Okay, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor? Aye. Ordinance 2023-03.
Okay, this is second reading of ordinance 2023-03, an ordinance of the town of Oakland, Florida, adopting a town official zoning map designation of R1A, single family residential for certain real property owned by James Weeble and Mary Lee, located at the following address, 1016 Whole Island Drive, as more particularly described herein, with an approximate size of 1.29 acres, making findings and providing for conflict severability and for an effective date. Okay,
Make a motion to accept ordinance 2023-03. I'll second that.
Going in.
this is the quiet side. Okay, so anyway, this is the second reading again. Sarah, anything to add? Okay. I'm gonna stop here. Anybody have anything? Okay. Bring it back to the table. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Why are you smiling?
Oh. We're happy to have all of your property.
Once again,
Yes,
thank you.
they are good about, they're good about coming to some meetings too. Appreciate that.
Let all your neighbors know how great it is to be part of Oakland.
Not a sales pitch, though. Yeah.
Okay, other policy matters, personnel policy manual, and Jack, I think that's you.
Yes. Check, we're in the town manager, just wanted to take This is something that's through the version that we have now, employee handbook, which was last updated in 2016. We've had a couple of years since. We revised that. We added some things like progressive discipline as an option to dismissal or termination of them. We have at will a situation for employment here. But we want to have an opportunity if we have a good employee that just made a bad decision, that we have the ability to provide corrective process for that. We've also added a number of other policies that have been omitted from the existing version. We shared that with our attorney. They made a few comments. We made those changes. It's now with the directors. They have gone through it twice. First time everybody making their comments, and then we went through and responded to those comments, and then there's been a little more in from that. So it's about ready to go to the attorney last time to make sure we have everything. One more thing that we want to add to it is a travel policy about travel.
Yep.
That's arranged and approved, reimbursed for staff. We're going to be trying to develop staff a little bit more to the training and conferences and such. And so we need to formalize that process. We don't really have that right now. We've also had to make a few changes relative to alterations in state law dealing with military leave, will help people get. Otherwise, just to clarify things, it's not much bigger. So that is reasonable. One of the ways we did that is that we're going to have addendums to it, well, departmental policy. So this guide will be for all employees throughout the town. And then we will have certain departments that will have additional policies that will either supplement this or revise parts. So for example, the PTO part that we have for regular employees will need to be different for the school because of their school year, the 10-month employees and when they can take leave and that sort of thing. Public work will need some policies there, but if you're working in the street, you have to have the orange vest on, you have to have hard hats, those types. And then the police department for certification, they pull out a lot of personnel rules that they have to adopt for how those things are handled. So those will be additions to this. We don't have any of this right now, so that'll really be more specific. But when we're settled on this base product, we'll be bringing that back to the commission in May for you to look at. We'll give it to you plenty early for you to go over it. But it will be a product that the whole town has had an opportunity to provide input and put it together.
So have we seen this? Because I don't think we have.
No, you haven't seen it yet.
So,
We're looking at it, internal staff, to make sure we have a good product.
and then when do we get to see it?
You'll probably get a copy of it next week.
Okay,
We get a pretty good turnaround time. Everybody's had their second look at it in the comments from the original questions. And the attorney had a pretty good turnaround time too, so it'll probably be, we're using a special labor attorney for this. Keith Hammond, and he'll just look at it again to make sure we didn't screw something up from the first time.
well, I think this is really a good thing to have done. We probably should have done it earlier, but you know how these things go. So I'm really happy to have this, and I'm really happy that, especially when it comes to safety, that we'll have those practices in place for different departments.
Right. Another button.
So it's informational only at this point.
Yes, at this point,
Okay.
because it had been brought up before. Here's where we are with it.
Okay,
Can I make a request?
Sir,
Whenever you guys do that final version, you guys have revision identifying the changes or the additions to it?
you mean from the current version we've got now? It's a pretty close, so I tried to do that to start with. But we were moving things around and it turned all green and red, and what we've done is the original one is just kind of a scatter. Here's a bunch of stuff. And so even where we didn't change it very much, we moved it to a different place, and that track changes makes it all colored up where you really couldn't tell what it looked like. What we could probably do is to write a little narrative that says this is what's changed.
That would be awesome.
Easier for you to follow than strike through an underline and what does this mean? You know, because that was going to be so confusing because things got moved around but not changed, but you couldn't tell it wasn't changed because it still was underlined in a different colors.
We would get a sheet on what you did.
Right. So we're going to point out any major things that happen. There's not a lot of major stuff in there. Everything that was already in there is just more explicit about how you do it, how to employ it. Any other questions on that?
I think that would be very helpful. Otherwise, we don't know what's old, what's new.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we started out doing that just for staff. Okay, here's what's changed.
Yeah.
So it will add on to that process. The next topic is Johns Lake Outfall Canal. We took the approach that there were some existing easements there that we could work with on the HOA property. And we've conveyed that information in an email to the HOA. And then we got an acknowledgement yesterday that thank you for the notice. If we have any questions, we'll let you know. But essentially, we're going to be working within the existing conservation drainage easements on the HOA parcel. We have a joint effort agreement with Oakland Park, and we have a temporary construction easement from Bob Christie. I wanted to show you this picture. This is the latest picture. It was taken about a month ago when we still had a pretty good amount of water coming through the channel. And you see that brown sort of muddy stuff all along the coastline that goes over to Mr. Pollen's house. We've shown you pictures before that you could see the silt a little bit, but this is the first time that we've had sufficient water flow at the same time we took the aerial photo. This is from Orange County Property Appraisers update to show actually the extent to which the sedimentation is being transported. Please go. But you can go down.
Okay.
You had that worked out.
Well, I'm sure we have more somewhere.
Yeah, we got it. So, and which was the point in the beginning of it's right at the end, it's going.
Yes, you know, yes. On the next page, in the,
Yeah, that's a fun one to read.
yeah, I zoomed in on this. This is where we're going to be actually doing the work. What we're going to do initially is dredge the sedimentation that's at the first two properties. And use it to do two things. One will be to fill in the channel that's in the wrong place. And create a berm then to block the flow there. And rest, whatever sediment we don't need will go to those two orange areas in the Oakland Park subdivision for them to use. If they're going to do some testing, if they find the material is not suitable for what they want to use it for, they are going to remove it from, they're going to do something else with it. We don't have to worry about that. The last thing they will do will be to extend the channel, restore it in its original place. They've got to make sure, right now we have no flow going through. So this is a good time to work. Because of the delays in getting all the legalities worked out, they're not going to start on this until the first week of May. The work should be completed during the month of May. Or the part of me with a garden hopes that it's raining by then, but the part of me that's trying to get this project built is hoping it doesn't rain very much. So we should be going through with that. We've gotten the permit from the Water Management District. We're currently securing a permit just to make sure I's and T's are covered from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They've agreed expeditiously that. I have a contract here. Now that we have all that stuff, I'm gonna ask the mayor to sign the contract with the contractor. It's the same terms, it just got the different dates in it
Okay,
because of the delay in getting.
so we've already approved this.
Sorry, yes,
So all I need to do is sign the contract,
right. It's just been updated for the dates of completion.
and then you'll continue to update us as the work goes forward.
And their next step is probably waiting on the study from Orange County now, so we can kind of designate.
Yes, that's kind of a long-term thing. They're looking at 6 months to get that done. We have some input into the scope of services for that. And I expect that that work will begin next month. And should be completed by the end of the year. One of their deliverables is going to be cost allocation. Here's how much the whole thing costs, and here's how much each of the drainage heads contribute to that. So that will give us a start. And I did have an opportunity while we were in Tallahassee last week to speak to some people about what the regulatory environment was for putting together a multi-jurisdictional district that could potentially take responsibility for it and be able to receive revenues from all the different governmental entities that would share in the responsibility for the maintenance. Essentially, everybody who puts water in the channel would be participating in that.
We just want to keep it moving.
Yeah.
Stop here, just, that's
Right.
just the first part of it, but
Orange County is frankly going to put a lot of money into that. That's not a cheap study.
That's quite detailed.
it is.
And Oakland Park is also, they actually have ordered a series of cross sections to be surveyed. Now that the water's down, Orange County went in there with a lot of big machinery and cut back the grass where you could see and that they could better understand what the condition was, especially with the culverts going under the trail. Where we were concerned that there was a lot of erosion that had occurred under there. It's not as bad as we had thought. But one of the issues is in Oakland Park, they have to design their culverts that are going to go across it. And they're kind of having to wait to see how this is going to work out with the design that's coming versus the other study. They're expecting to put in bigger culverts than what exists in other places, so they're not a choke point. Whatever happens upstream, they can be accommodated by that.
Well, those ones gone underneath the trail aren't as big as they should be either. They're not, they're fully.
Yeah.
Right. No, we're looking probably, those are 48-inch maybe, and we're looking for everything being a 60 minimum. And 2 of those at each point. It'll be different at different locations depending on the velocity of the water.
Very good, thank you.
This is a big eye opener, this picture.
Oh, yeah, that's a good illustration.
You knew how bad it was from the surface, but this is what lies beneath, all the way down to your house.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I'm glad that we're started this and we're taking that
Right.
fight, the first fight. Thank you.
But it's funny how the current brings it down that one. When we get the next springs, you would think flow, the next springs would make the water
Pull it
flow
that way, yeah.
that way.
I haven't seen Gordon Neck in a long time. Let's see how fast that's bubbling up.
It's not bubbling up like it used to. You used to see it bubbling. You don't see it bubbling like it used to.
I just go down there with Jake Voss every weekend.
Thank goodness we haven't had a rainy season start. It's been pretty dry
Yeah,
historically.
this is still water coming from back in the fall,
Wow.
months later.
Well, it's the right time, so.
All right, do we have any other questions? None? Observations? Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions or observations? All right, we don't need to vote on this, it's just an update, and you will continue to update us as work progresses. And I'll sign the contract.
Thank you.
Gotcha. All right, case settlement.
Case settlement. We've had 2 outstanding lawsuits to which, well, one was kind of a lawsuit, one was not yet a lawsuit, but was a complaint. In the past week, we've been able to settle those. We had a lawsuit associated with the former Bin Laden property. Where a purchaser had objected to having to pay some of the pass-through fees that the town had imposed on the previous owner. They sued for $23,000. It went to mediation. And we've settled that for $10,000 total, of which $4,000 is coming from the town and $6,000 is coming from another party to the case. Now, of the $4,000, half of the funds are coming from the town attorney, the Vos law firm.
Okay.
So we have matched their $2,000 contribution to be shed of it, as my grandfather would say.
You gonna build a shed?
We're good. Build a shed of $4,000.
I understand what you're saying.
They don't deserve a dime, but this is a business.
Yeah, it's pay now or pay more later.
So we'll need your approval for the mayor to agree to that
Okay.
settlement.
Do you have anything to add, Stephanie?
I would just say that the nuisance value of the suit was very high compared to the dollar value. So it was one where we think that the town's defenses were very strong and we do not think that the town did anything wrong in any way. But we recommend settlement in this case.
Need
All right.
consensus from us or?
Yes.
Consensus or vote?
To approve. Vote to approve the settlement agreement.
Pardon?
A vote to approve the settlement agreement.
All right, do I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the settlement.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any more questions or comments or direction from the mayor?
Take your favor back.
I'm gonna ask if the audience has any questions, comments, observations. All right, we'll take it back to the table. All in favor? Now, at the risk of looking dumb, which I've done quite often lately, I looked at this agenda 3 times, went through all the attachments, and didn't realize that we didn't have water tower on.
Oh.
Because we said we were gonna continue that conversation. And then tonight I'm looking at it going, where is it? You always see what you want to see. So I did not intend to leave it off.
Right. No, Commissioner Pollitt asked for additional time to
Okay,
research the effort.
well, we had promised we would do it. So,
And there was a version where it was on there and then after I spoke to the commissioner, we took.
okay, so I'm not as dumb as I normally am.
There was.
Get carried away.
Oh, yeah, really.
Say that you saw that one. You saw the one that was on.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And the other settlement agreement to talk about.
Oh, we have to talk about that one too?
Yes.
All right. It's not on the agenda.
Well, case settlement is ambiguous in terms of the quantity. Because we didn't know whether we were going to get this one done too.
All right, go ahead.
This got settled on Thursday. We had a former police officer who filed a complaint with the EEOC. Claiming that he had been treated adversely. We had an independent investigation by the county sheriff's office, as you're probably well aware.
Oh, yeah.
They found that there was no evidence to support that claim. And as a result of that, when we went through the process with the EEOC complaint, we were able to effect a settlement that's of $20,000 that's being paid by the insurance carrier. There's no cost to the town relative to the settlement. And this will remove the case. And again, this is a nuisance payment, to be honest with you, because the attorney would cost, $60,000 or $80,000 to defend this all the way through. And so the insurance company made the business decision that it's better to do this than pay.
Yeah, we usually look to them for guidance when they're paying the bill.
Right. So on the good side, you can say we settled 2 issues, $2,000, but
That one also is part of the portal of it, I mean, the shed of it, portal of it?
Yes, we're getting rid of this, but except it's not our shed, it's gonna be somebody else's shed, because we're not taking any of this. Now, this is a $20,000 settlement.
Right. So do we have any questions?
So we again ask that you approve this.
Okay. Do you have anything to add? I don't think this was through your firms.
I wasn't involved in this case. I'm not aware that Becky was either,
So
so.
the insurance company elected their attorney.
Okay. So I need a motion.
I'll make the motion to, no, afraid to talk now.
I promise that. I haven't hit you yet.
I'll make a motion to accept the case settlement for the law to.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. Anybody in the audience have a question or a comment? All right, we'll take back the table. All in favor? Aye.
Town manager report.
Yeah, don't sit down yet.
Oh, wait a minute. Well, Rick, you want to talk about it when we go around the table? What, the water tower?
No, I thought we were gonna wait.
Yeah, he asked for more time.
He has to talk about it.
I'll wait more time.
Oh, I thought he asked for more time at the meeting. Never mind. See, never mind. Okay,
Yeah, I can talk again now.
yeah. All right, go ahead, Jack.
Quick list of things. Oakland Park has notified us that they're going to be doing their street connections in phase 7 pretty soon. So just to let you know that that's going to be opening up and they'll be connecting over.
And we will start to work very hard on our golf cart
Yes.
plan.
Well, yes, and we've got something ready to go. We probably don't want to be driving through a construction zone.
No, but I know people are very anxious to have that one piece
Yes,
connected, and then people who are not connected at all are anxious to get connected.
Well,
So did they get the St. John's approval, put the bridge across the canal then?
these street connections don't require, the canal crossing that they have to do has to do with internal circulation inside the phase 7 area.
I see.
It's, none of these connections is having to go across there already.
Oh, so they're gonna make the connection but not go across the canal.
Right. They have a crossing over the channel right now that gets them
Right.
from phase 6 into phase 7.
Yep.
And then these are then on the west side of phase 7 to come up. There are gates there now along the street that had closed those access points. So that, and they've also, we'll be bringing to you amendment to the developer agreement soon to settle the issue about the buffer there along the Winter's Landing property.
Oh, thank you. I just wrote that down.
and what that does is that, we need that so we can move on with the full thing because of the golf cart issue as we go.
Yeah.
Answer to school and stuff.
Now, with regards to the golf cart, we're doing a traffic study.
Okay,
Is that, are these cut into Star from Oakland Park or are they other ones? Into Star, okay,
Because they're doing the site preparation over there.
yeah, I was confused, I thought maybe they were someplace else inside of Oakland Park, but they're coming out to us, so, okay, thank you.
And there'll be one to the south there too, Mackie.
Yes,
And they're, probably, yes, they're gonna be doing all of those. They're having to do construction on all streets.
yeah, but we agreed, I think it would have to be, you would have to go back and look at it unless you know the answer. Exactly what streets we agreed to punch through, because I think we took a couple off the table.
I don't remember what they were.
Yeah, and I don't remember what we agreed to, what we didn't agree to.
Yeah.
So I think we owe that information back to you guys.
there was one at Demons. It kind of came into Demons. There was supposed to be another one, I thought, near Maki, but that looks like it's all developed. I don't see any indications of,
I think I don't know that any of us, unless
The middle road in Southern Oak, what's the middle?
Simmons,
That's the one, my understanding is supposed to connect to.
but there's one in Winter's Landing too.
I think we just need a refresh.
Being drive though, that's what we understood.
Yeah.
I think
I want to make sure before, that we're all on the same page, including Oakland Park. And Bob, I know you had something to say.
Can we have people come up? I'm sorry, it's gonna be really hard for me to hear this.
Okay.
I just was going to ask, I know that originally several years ago, when we were talking about development and coming into Devon's, that one of the agreements had been made that Star will get paved through to try
Yes.
to divert traffic from coming through Southern Oaks as much as they can just turn left and go straight up to Oakland Avenue. I see there's a lot of construction going over by the police station and all that. Is that all part of the process? And I've seen staking going along.
No, that's different, but we did agree that we would improve Star and at a certain point, I can't exactly remember what point that is, part of the Oakland Park project. What you see over by the police station is a development. I think that's Franco's development, right?
And it's tied in some with Oakland Park too, but it's a different part of that.
Yeah, but that's Franco's land right next.
It is. But I believe the original idea for that was to handle some traffic.
Motomassic's supposed to go through too.
Yeah, I think that road that it.
Or Captain Ross Drive.
Again, will turn into an 1820s Main Street when it's rainy and muddy. If there's any more traffic than already there. I mean, the town's done a great job of always coming back, putting rock on it and grading it and, keeping it in a tolerable condition for sure.
About Star,
Yeah.
it's gonna be paved. Just when, I can't tell you, but we'll figure that out, as well as which roads are being punched through.
They didn't specify, they just said,
Yeah, well, we need to make sure that we're all on the same page, because I don't want a road that we didn't agree to.
But I think you're right. That means then Winter's Landing, it sounds right.
But we'll
You need, like,
validate that. Yeah, Nancy, gotta come up a little bit, get the sound.
There's a stub in the middle of Mackey
There's
that's
a couple stuff.
anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's, we understood was not going to be cut through and it was going to remain a stub, as is the stub at the end of Mackey that goes into that property that nobody owns anymore.
The intent when Winter's Landing long time ago was built, that those roads would be pushed through,
gridded.
all of them. But then we backed up, if my memory serves, we backed up when we did the Oakland Park agreement to not have so many roads punched through. But at this point, I think we're all speculating here.
Yes, we.
And I think we just need to drop it and come back when we have the right information.
Okay.
But it's good input. We're starting to spin.
You're talking about the golf cart ordinance. We're doing a traffic study down at Hull Island Drive and Oakland Avenue to see about making that a three-way stop and about the lane configuration that's there now. The Turnpike has agreed to redo that intersection so that we have more separation between Oakland Avenue and the trail. So that we can store a vehicle in there and more visibility, more reaction time to a vehicle turning right and suddenly being confronted with ice going. And
How I love the Turnpike Authority.
we're also trying to move it to the east so that we have a full radius for making that right turn onto the bridge going across the turnpike the way they had originally designed that. Anybody turning right would have to go out into the opposing lane of traffic. And that was, of course, not a very good idea. So we're doing a traffic study there. That would be the point that we would look at establishing the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit necessary for.
Golf carts to use the road.
And they would be, of course, able to then come towards the town center from Hull Island if we establish that.
That would be the starting point for the 25
That'd be
mile.
the starting point there.
And I think we need some education for everybody in town about, what golf carts are allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do, who's allowed to drive them, what the consequences are, what's street legal versus not, so on and so forth.
Yes, there's quite a bit to do in that regard.
But we're getting there.
Yep. I'm going to be serving on the Tourism Development Tax Advisory Task Force with Orange County. The next meeting is Friday, May the 12th.
You got the notice that it changed, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell who was copied on it.
Yep, I got the notice that they changed. And there's a suggestion that we pave a 3-block area around the First Presbyterian Church. That'd be 2 blocks on Brock Street between Oakland Avenue and Sadler Avenue. And then it would be that 1 block of Sadler Avenue between Star Street. And the reason that staff is proposing that is because of the changes we're going to have in school circulation next year when we finish the work on Star Street. Having that connected, we're going to change the way cars queue up to do the drop off at pickup.
I think we need a little primer on what that looks like.
All right, we can bring that at the next meeting, tell you that.
Do you guys agree?
Yes, I was gonna bring.
I was like, I can't visualize that.
Okay, remember I brought it up to think about a few weeks ago that.
Yeah.
Look,
While there's,
I think we need and it could very well be a recommendation. You bring presentation and we can vote on it.
If you could show us how it's going now, then how it's gonna be going once for the school.
I can't visualize around it. I mean, when they start construction on roads, I can't see what it's gonna turn into. So I would love to, get the details and make sure we.
have we got a price already? Will you come to us?
Looks like it'd be around $150,000 to do it.
Yeah, we definitely need.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to mention to you now that.
We're working on it.
Last thing,
And then the other question to be answered, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to set you up for success, is make sure that the surrounding properties, including the churches, are, have input.
well, that one of the reasons for doing that is that it doesn't really, it's not just residential right there.
But we've got some parking things going on and
Yes, yes, and that also another reason potentially they is. Exceptionally high traffic, not just for the school, but for the church. Both churches. I'll be on vacation for the next 2 weeks. This is something that was planned last fall before I had responsibility of general town manager. While I'm gone, police chief will be acting town manager.
Okay.
Give him some good experience to learn more about the town and get better integrate other people, get to know him more. And that's it. Any questions for me? Thank you. Guys.
okay. Go figure. Not bad. So Sal, you got anything?
Talk slow.
I just want to say it was a great egg on helicopter drop.
That was fantastic.
As didn't have a chance to go into the Arts Heritage Center. This is the Grace information. I think I learned a lot more now. I knew a little bit, but now, the big picture is coming together. This is great. I wish we had more books and more stuff to read about her that's all that's it.
Well, Lisa already mentioned earlier, but I just want to remind everybody, Bubbly on the Boardwalk is Saturday, April 22nd from 6 to 9. You can buy tickets at the OMP website for $30 a piece. It's open to adults only.
Joseph, nothing? How about your trip to Tallahassee?
Or,
Both of you?
good trip, but it was kind of cut short
I heard.
because, the house went home. We met with.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
the home.
They fled as well they should.
I guess the big, I guess the main meeting, we met with appropriation, with the same people we met with last year.
Yeah,
So Jack was able to give our seal as far as what we're trying to do. And so.
do we have support in the House on that line item? Did we ever get anybody? Because it got, it got dropped.
Amnesty is.
She's still doing it?
They're gonna support
Well,
us.
she supports it, but she wasn't able,
She's not shepherding it.
they limited the number of projects she could put
So
forward.
did anybody else pick it up?
No,
Okay,
our plan is to, we have strong Senate support. So when it goes to a conference, committee, then
okay.
hopefully they'll prevail there.
And the chamber's supporting it. I guess it's their WOPA is supporting it. Yeah,
I'll be.
Got it.
For other reasons. Okay, I was checking it out with them.
that would be awesome. Thank you. Mikey?
The school, first thing, we got the gala is on the 12th, so if you can and are willing, at least let her know so we can sign up.
I haven't answered your email yet.
I did, right?
Oh, okay. Attaboy, I'll get you a star out. It's so fast.
I was there last year.
The other thing is they told us that Saturday booster sign just gave PTO, just gave a school another $40,000.
Wow.
Wow.
It is amazing. Throw money at us like, I just never done like it.
It is a privilege to have a school that's that well regarded.
Gosh. So they're working on it. You remember we talked about doing something, for them, and they said maybe a tree in their honor. They're working on the logistics of where to plant it and.
And you have the new Eagle Scout project there.
Yes, and it has the Bat House.
Yeah, no, they're not bad houses. They're
Purple
Martin
No, there's the
houses.
Bat House too.
That helps too. They have both.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
both of
Purple Martin houses.
them. Yeah. So, and I went and looked at them. They look really cool.
They did a great job.
I have to say, I didn't go all the way across the field to look at the Bat House.
Yeah, we did. Sal did some really hard work with that post hole digger.
Great job.
Yes, Nancy,
Stand up, Ms.
stand up,
I would just like to say
What's your name?
stop.
that
Yeah,
he would like to make a presentation once the signage is finished and posted. They're going through final drafts of the signage for the Bat House and for the Purple Martin Colony. And when that's mounted, he would like to come and make a final presentation if that's
we
appropriate.
would love it.
Thank you.
We would definitely love it.
So, that's it for me.
Okay. I second Sal's comment and Mike's comments at the Easter egg drop, and everything was, that was one well-run event. When you have 2,500 people running around in a confined space, you better be ready. So there was plenty for people to do. I'm loving the Oakland company store.
Isn't it great?
It is, and they are so nice. It's such a great addition. We got the hot dog guy, we got the company store, we got the Heritage Center. It's all come together.
Which, by the way, talking with both of them, hot dog therapy and Oakland General, they're very happy working together with each other.
Yeah, they like each other.
Yeah, it's not
They're creating synergy between them to have more people.
Is it a rising tide lifts all boats? Is that the saying?
While the car dealers are next to each other in Claremont.
That's true.
Thank God they're in Claremont.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well. So, but yeah, and actually, as far as that, I forgot to say, as far as that day went for the Easter thing, I made a point of going to a lot of the vendors that were there and saying, what do you think? How do you like it? I didn't run across anyone that said, man, we're glad to be here. So on the vendor side of it, it went very well.
And the recap is stellar. If you haven't been able to just kind of go through it, it's very detailed and it was done very quickly. So it's so professional.
And that young Easter bunny was a pleasure for me to see.
Now, I did get very extremely limited or I saw extremely limited feedback that there was some trash left, from the Easter eggs. Yeah, so I'm sure Mike has, made sure that we've got that cleaned up a while ago.
They did remark the property after notes came out.
Mhm.
Jessica responded with a post
Good.
and the area was clean. It was old use, I think, by the time. They were
Okay.
posting about it.
I was happy that they spread it all the way to Cross. They included more of the west side of the art museum, which we usually didn't have it that way. So it gave, people that opportunity to go to that.
And it was a beautiful day. It was a little warm, but it was a beautiful day. Here.
I didn't have any more business that you're conducting. I didn't.
We're about 2 minutes from bolting out of here.
He's one.
It shouldn't take more than 45 minutes.
Oh, please.
I want to say that I'm sorry that I'm not at the last two commission meetings. It is not a sign of my lack of passion for what you all do and particularly on the issue of the Outfall Canal. I thank you, commissioners. Mayor, you know that I have been outwardly critical on some things in the past, and today I just want to say how grateful I am and thankful for you and your team for everything you've done, as well as how it's going to end up helping a whole lot of homeowners from Johns Lake on the way down. And I thank you and staff as well.
Just had to figure out how to get there.
Right.
And Mike did a great job of, taking it and running with it.
He did. He did. But I want to thank
Thank
all of you.
I appreciate it.
I had a chance to say that to Steve before his departure, and thank you for everything you've done as well. I appreciate it. And it means a lot. Thank you.
And I'll take that out. You know, I appreciate it. You got to take it over. Took the ball in your hand. You got it down and out.
We're not done.
We're not done. It's all going down the road.
We're getting there, doing our best. And for a little town, I went to a town who shall remain nameless in the middle of Florida somewhere, and the only place way you get there are back roads. And let me tell you, there are counties that are very poor who, and little towns who do not get to do what we get to do. So we're very lucky in that regard. I think that's it. I appreciate everything, and just,
I forgot,
oh,
does the town know about what happened with AC's family, Adrian's family?
no.
Their stepfather passed away.
Oh.
For Easter.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Adrian Cowan.
Are we making sure that we're expressing, no, I'm sorry, I was looking at Jack, expressing our sympathy.
It's Stephanie's mother-in-law died too. She's on bereavement leave
Okay.
now.
Well,
So we need, that's
another.
Part of,
Yes.
part of that, yeah. I don't know, I'm not sure if you're not, I was out of town,
I hadn't heard,
yeah, that's how I found out.
Do much of that.
Yeah.
Go back to see.
all our, Mike and Mike's son and my daughter grew up with them,
Yeah.
went to school with them.
Oh, wow. I think it happened either Thursday or Friday.
Nice family.
They are very nice. family.
and a better internal process for that.
Yeah, we do. But I mean, we had talked about that a while ago. Because, either we go wild sending more flowers than we should, or we just drop the ball.
One of the issues we have with that sort of thing is sometimes people don't want it broadcast.
So,
And so we have to find a way to get that.
But I'm talking, yeah, of course, we would be respectful of that, but what I'm talking about is, thresholds. But anyway, Joseph.
all right. It is 7:56 PM.
Tongue tied Joseph, see that?